beginning part will be erased, but I do hear the echo, and I'm hearing it because we're in the backstage, Bug. I would suggest you get headphones. Do you have any headphones, Bug, at all that you could put in for your computer? Because that'll eliminate a lot of that back noise. Because you're going to hear my background too, because we're both on stage.
Okay. You hear the back feed? I don't hear the back feed, so that's you hear it.
Oh, I
Um,
did hear it, but it's oh, maybe you were you off mic? I don't know, but I don't hear it anymore.
yeah. Okay,
Okay,
so it's
so we
10:30.
good.
We can begin. All
Yes.
right.
I think it was me. So I think we're good now.
Yeah.
All right. We'll let you go ahead, Bug.
All
Or
right.
do you want me
So
to start?
welcome to this session. Today's session, we're going to walk through how to invest in fan base. My name is Bug Laws, and Joyce is the host. I'm the co-host of this event. I want to give a shout out to Joyce for allowing me to do this right here to show people how to invest in fan base. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with a little intro. You may be familiar with this person right here. He's the founder and CEO of Fanbase. So we're going to start off with that, and then we're going to get on to step-by-step process of how to invest in Fanbase.
What began as a gutsy, inspirational idea is growing into a disruptor in social media and the creator economy. Our journey has been remarkable, from being a self-funded startup to raising over $10 million on StartAgent. But this isn't just about numbers, it's about disruption. At Fanbase, we've reimagined what it means to be a content creator.
It's not just about followers or likes, it's about genuine connections
and about giving everyone a voice.
Our diverse team from all walks of life is the driving force behind our innovation.
We're not just building a platform, we're shaping community. We're proud to be a pioneer of peer-to-peer in-app purchase subscriptions, branded live audio on web, and filed patents for 7 core functionalities, including platform content migration, revenue-driven audio conversations, and more.
And we're not stopping there. The future of Fanbase is bright, with gaming and e-commerce tools that are seamlessly integrated, offering new avenues for creators to engage and flourish.
As we gaze into the future of the creator economy, the total addressable market is projected to reach an astounding
$480 billion by the year of 2027.
With nearly 50% of all social media users expressing their willingness to pay for social media subscriptions,
The landscape of digital content is being redefined.
This shift isn't just a trend, it's a testament to the value and impact of creators.
In every corner of the globe, creators are being eagerly sought after as gateways to unique, enriching experiences. In the heart of Fanbase lies a profound commitment to reimagining social media as a realm where equality and inclusivity aren't just ideals, but the very foundation of our existence.
we envision a world where every creator's voice echoes with equal resonance, where the boundaries of visibility are expanded to embrace every story, every dream.
We stand as architects of change, weaving a tapestry of connection and opportunity, disrupting the old to make way for a new era, an era where the creator economy thrives in the hands of those who dare to dream without limits.
Without limits.
Fanbase. Be you without limits.
All right. So, and just a little background about myself. I started off as an investor in Fanbase before I started using the platform. In fact, I invested in August of last year. And then in November, I started using the platform. And to me, it was like, okay, if I'm using something, why not invest in it? I invested and I'm using, so I'm like, I invested in it, why not use it? So I now there's an opportunity right now to invest in the very same thing platform that you use. Just think about it. Imagine if you had an opportunity to invest in a company like Meta before it became public. Because Meta started off just like similar to Fanbase, raising money so they can become bigger and eventually go public. Just imagine you had an opportunity to invest in Microsoft before it became what Microsoft is now. would you invest? If the answer is yes, guess what? You have that very opportunity with Fanbase now, investing in a company in the startup phase before it becomes public. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you step by step of how to become a Fanbase investor. So the first thing you want to do is type in your search bar startengine.com/Fanbase. You press enter. And again, I'm doing this on a laptop. So if you're doing this on your phone, it's going to be similar, but you may not see what I'm seeing on the laptop. So for me, it's convenient to show you on a laptop. But once I press enter, it takes me to this page right here. And the first thing you see right down below starting is get a piece of Fanbase. Now, in order to invest in Fanbase, you must create an account with Start Engine. You will not be able to create an invest in Fanbase unless you create an account in Start Engine. So once you get to this page right here, you're going to press right where it says Get Equity. You're going to press that button right there. And what comes up is an option to sign up or log in. For this presentation purposes, I created an account, a dummy account, just so I can walk you through the steps of signing up for Start Engine. So initially you will see this blank in which you will have to put in your email address and create a password. Once you create that, then you can press continue. And now it will take you to the steps of investing, signing up for Start Engine. So I'm going to press continue. Once I press continue, and again, as you see, I was just verifying information because at the starting point. So we're going to go back to show you exactly what you will see once you create your account with Start Engine. So the first page you're going to see after you press continue is this. It's going to say, welcome. Let's begin with the essentials. They want to know your name and they want to know what type of account that you want to set up. Do you want it as an individual? Do you want it as a joint account? Do you want to use it as a company account, a trust, an existing IRA? And guess what? Start Engine itself has an IRA that's free. You can create an IRA using Start Engine. But for the sake of this presentation, we're going to stick to an individual. So this person wants to create an individual account. So you just press individual, okay? Then you press next. After that, you're going to verify your address. You live in the United States or wherever country you live in, you select that country. For this presentation, we're going to say United States. And we just put in an address. Again, this is a dummy account that I created, but you put in your address. And then you put in your citizenship. Are you a citizen of the United States or a citizen or wherever? You select the country. For this presentation, we're going to select United States. Okay. Next, it's going to ask you a little bit about yourself. Do you have any dependents? Either if you can say no, or you can say yes, I have one. You select one. If you have two, if you have three, and so forth. For the sake of this presentation, we're going to say we have one dependent. Marital status, self-explanatory. You select what your marital status is. For this sake of presentation, this person is married. Employment status. So you can either say that, hey, I'm a student, in which once you're a student, you just move on. Or if you're retired, as you see, there's no other options. If you're unemployed, there's no other options. Or if you are employed. Now, if you are employed, then you have to put your occupational details. It asks you to put occupational details. For the sake of this presentation, this person is a cook and they work for 904 Movers. So I just put that in there, okay? Once you finish that, you just go to next. Now they're going to ask you to share your experience with investing. And that could be anything. Some people invest in property. You might invest in property. You might invest in the stock market, or you may not have any experience at all. This may be your very first investing experience. So you select which best suits you. For the sake of this presentation, this person has limited investment experience. And what is the goal? What is your ultimate goal when you make a decision to invest, especially in a company like Fanbase? What is your ultimate goal? Do you want growth, income, capital preservation, speculation, or other? Other is right now you don't know, right? Or it could be something different. For the sake of this presentation, we're going to say the goal is for growth. And tell me your comfort level for investing. Now, remember, just like any other investment, startups such as Fanbase, investments like this comes with risk. So anytime you make an investment, there are a risk associated with it. And that's required for by the SEC for companies to put that out. There are risks. If the global stock market declined 10% in a month, what would you do? Now, talking from an investor standpoint, because I am an investor, for me, my comfort level will be I'm going to still keep my investment because I believe in a vision. If I believe in that vision, to overcome a decline. And I may decide to buy more because the price may be cheaper now. Now I can buy it even at a cheaper rate. But you will have to make that decision. If the stock market declined 10% in a month, what would you do? Would you sell your investment? Would you sell some of it? Or would you buy? For the sake of this presentation, I'm going to put keep all or buy more. And how long do you plan to invest your money? Now, again, this is for a long-term investment. So you're looking for not for tomorrow, not for next month, but years down the line. Because on average, that's how long it takes when you do an investment for you to really see the benefits of your investment. So for the sake of this presentation, I'm going to say 7+ years. And now, last, share your financial snapshot. Now, this is important because this is going to determine if by SEC laws, are you eligible to even invest? And that's just to protect you, right? So for the sake of this training, I put the annual income as $30,000 and net worth approximately $75,000. So how do you calculate your annual income? The annual income is calculated using the amount of money you bring home each year prior to deductions. So that's known as gross income. So gross income prior to any type of deductions. That's how much I'm gonna put in for annual income. How do I calculate the net worth? Your net worth is a total of assets minus your debt, right? And that excludes your primary residence, but it includes all other personal holdings. In other words, the amount of money you have amount of cash you have on hand or asset that can be quickly converted into cash. That's how you come up with your net worth. That's minus your primary resident. Okay. And how important is liquidity to you? Okay. So let's define what liquidity is. All right. Liquidity is a company's ability to convert assets to cash or to even acquire cash. And why is that important? Because if a company is unable to have the ability to acquire cash, if they without sufficient liquidity, that can cause a financial bottleneck and essentially put that company in a position where they can default on payments or anything. They can't pay their bills. And ultimately, the company dissolves. Well, with Fanbase have a history of being able to acquire cash to take care of their expenses, such as whatever they need to do to maintain afloat. So they have an ability. They are on a 4th round of fundraising. So that's an ability, a track record to raise funds. So how important is liquidity to you? Well, for the sake of this presentation, and again, talking from an investor experience, you want to know mindset. Liquidity is important because I want to know that company is able to raise money or have cash on hand to take care of the necessities. And then to confirm it's you, again, I put a fictitious number on there. a fictitious birthday. And for the sake of this presentation, I'm going to put in a fictitious social security number because they want to know that it's you. So once that's complete, right, I'm going to press next. And this is just asking questions such as, is the account holder a controlled person? Is the account holder a controlled person of a publicly traded company? The answer is no. Are you or immediate family member residing in the same household, employed, or associated with any of the following? Answer is no. Would you like to add a trusted contact? Now, that's optional, but for the sake of this training, I'm just going to put no. Then you press next. And finally, to complete your sign up for Start Engine, you have to read the agreement, and then you have to press to check to say that you acknowledge that you read and you agree to the terms. And then you press submit. Once you press submit, shortly after the turnaround time from pressing submit to get notification that you was accepted, it varies. So when I signed up for Start Engine, I immediately received 2 emails. One that welcomed me to, that acknowledged that they received my request to sign up for Start Engine, and the other email was a welcome aboard. However, it depends on the time frame, depends on your verification. So if they are able to verify you immediately, then you'll get it kind of quick. If it takes if it takes longer, you can look up to 7 days, 7 business days for them to verify you. So this is just a verification to show that you are who you are. Once that is clear, you go through the steps again, type in startengine.com/fanbase, and it will take you to this page again. Now you're ready to sign up, right? But before you sign up for anything, I will encourage you to, read about the company that you are invested in. That's called doing your due diligence, right? So you see the tabs that you can actually get an overview on the company, learn more about the company, such as the top leadership. And as you see the top leadership right here. Read about them, the terms and conditions, any updates that the company have. There's a tab right there. Any rewards that the company offer from starting to invest, become an investor. Click that tab right there. We'll talk a little bit about this 10% venture club rewards later on. And also there's a discussion tab. If you have any questions about your investment or any concerns about the company itself, you can write in right here what's on your mind. Once you write in your concern, you press post, and typically the turnaround for a response is kind of quick. And you actually get a response from Isaac Hayes himself to answer the questions that you have. And last but not least, you have investing Q&A. That's the tab. So let's just go back just a little bit, because I just want to touch on certain things that when you're doing your due diligence, certain things that you may want to be mindful of. Okay. So if you look below, you'll see something that says 2024 offering circular, 2025 offering circular, selected risks related to this offering, and SEC EDGAR page. So what we're going to do is and this is part of doing your due diligence, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I just want to show you where things are located and point out just some important things that you should be mindful of when you are investing in the company. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on a 2025 offering circular. An offering circular pretty much is a type of disclosure document for issuing securities. So specifically, specifically securities like Regulation A offerings under the SEC, which this is a Regulation A. This is a crowdfunding security. Essentially, that's what it means. So the 2025 offering is just verification of, hey, what are we offering this round? So as you see right here on the right-hand side, they're offering a minimum investment of $3.99 will get you 60 shares of Fanbase. And your shares per share is going to be $6.65. That's going to be on this circular offering. And it looks like this. And as you can read right here, it says they are offering up to 2,556,391 shares of Class B non-voting common stock. Okay, so what is non-voting common stock? Well, companies offer several different kinds of stocks, Class A, Class B, Class C, and they all have different types of restrictions and privileges. In this case right here, the Class B non-voting common stock is an equity stock that you're going to get. You are buying equity into the company. You don't have any voting rights. Well, don't be alarmed by that, because your main purpose is to buy equity in the company in hopes that you can increase that equity, right? You just won't have voting rights when it comes to upper management decisions, like corporate decisions, such as electing the board of directors or approve mergers or making changes to the company charter. But that shouldn't be alarming for a company like this. But you will still be entitled to anything, such as if the company decides to give a dividend, say they decide to give a quarterly dividend, you will be entitled to that. And when the price per share increases, you will be entitled to that. You just won't be entitled to any decisions, such as corporate decisions, making major corporate decisions, and that's common in startups like this. And you also have that in publicly traded companies. They have Class A stocks available in publicly traded companies, and they also have Class B, which the main purpose is equity growth. So that's the type of company shares that you will be buying from Fanbase. And next to where it says bonus shares, you see a 1 with an asterisk next to it. That lets you know there is more information to be mindful about the bonus shares, which you can see right here. So again, they're offering 60 shares of Class B voting, non-voting common stock for $3.99 plus 3.5% transaction fee. And we'll discuss that later on. That transaction fee goes to Start Engine. That's how Start Engine makes their money. Okay. So I encourage you to just read over this circular just so you understand what you're getting. All right. I do want to highlight to you, bring attention to you, the bold print. Anything that's in bold print on any type of document, that's pretty much one of those, hey, read this, it's important. Just for you to be mindful. Now, everything is important, but if it's documented, if it's highlighted bold, you definitely want to pay attention to that. That's just to protect you and protect the company, okay? As you scroll down right here, it says this offering is inherently risky. Please see risk factors on page 7. And you can just simply scroll down to the table of contents, and the second line, you see risk factors. You scroll over, you press 7, and you will be able to see the risk factors. And as you see, it says the SEC requires the company to identify risks that are specific to its business and its financial condition. That same verbiage is, you'll find that same verbiage in all companies that's either publicly traded or in the startup phase. So it's required by SEC for companies to put those risk factors in there. Now, I'm not going to go over everything that's in this risk factor. This is just for you to understand what's in it. You do your due diligence and read this for yourself. All right. So now back to the tab. So we went over the offering circular, something that you should be mindful before you make a decision to invest. We went over the selected risks related to the offering, and the SEC EDGAR page, which is, it looks like this right here. It's just showing that this company has filed reports with the SEC. And again, you can take that time to read it yourself, but I just want to show you where it's located and what it looks like. Okay. So now, reasons to invest, and you can read the bullet points of reasons to invest. They got traction, over 630,000 users with a 27% CMGR. CMGR stands for compounded monthly growth rate. So they're growing monthly at 27%. That's one of the reasons to invest. Over 10 million raised, as you see with the previously crowdfunding. When they previously crowdfunded, they raised over 10 million, met their goal. So now they're in another round, and the goal is to reach 17 million. As you see right now, they're almost at 13 million. So pretty much all they need is roughly a little bit over 4 million more before they reach their goal. Okay. In 2023, they launched over 20 plus features, including unlimited subscriptions, AI algorithms, long form video on web, and chat rooms on Fanbase Audio and Fanbase Audio Web. So those are the things that you want to start off before you invest in the company, right? Why should I invest in this company? So they're giving you a reason why, right? As we scroll down, it just tells you a little bit about the features. You can be you without limits. And some of the people that use Fanbase understand and realize they can be themselves without limits. All right. They talk about the traction, some of the milestones, and I'm not going to read every milestone or all the milestones. You can take a look for yourself, just showing you where to find it. Production development milestones. If you press this, there's an audio, YouTube audio that tells you the 2024 development milestones, the overview. Talk about the problem and the problem regarding any existing social media platforms. Would they fail users in 3 ways: visibility, monetization, and platform viability. That's where Fanbase come in. Okay. And you just scroll down, and the solution, and you just read what Fanbase's vision is for the solution. Okay. Market, the creator economy is surging. So it tells you a little bit about that. It tells you about the business model. So read up on Fanbase's business model to see if, hey, you know what, that's a pretty good model. You know what, I wouldn't mind investing in something like that. All right. How are they different from any other platform? It talks about that. And then again, why invest? Like, other social media apps didn't allow the public to invest before institutional investors did. Again, I gave the example of Meta before it became Meta. Before you were able to invest in Meta on a public market, it was only available to institutional investors to invest before they became public. So they was able to invest at a whole lot cheaper price than you are able to invest in Meta now. With Fanbase, you have an opportunity to capitalize on that before they become public. And again, these are just capital statements that protects Fanbase, protects Start Engine. So it's letting you know that an offering statement regarding this offering has been filed with the SEC. We've seen that. I showed you where to find that. The SEC has qualified that the offering statement, which only means that the company may make sales of the securities described by the offering. So they qualify to offer you a minimum investment of $3.99 for 60 shares at $6.65 per share. But that doesn't mean the SEC has approved, passed, or upon the merit or passed upon the accuracy or completion of the information in this offering statement. That simply means that because they're in a crowdfunding stage, raising money, the SEC is not scrutinizing the accuracy of what they're submitting. All they require to do is submit the offering, and the SEC qualified that they are able to make sales of those securities. Once this company decides that they want to take this next step, such as going public, it's going to be scrutinized that much more by the SEC. Okay. And the offering circular, that's part of the offering. And I showed you what the offering circular looked like, but you can also find it right here. And the crowd check verified report is found here. That's just simply verifying that this is an established, an existing company. And you can click that to read up on that. And then you have, offering materials, so pretty much it's protecting Fanbase and it's protecting Start Engine. So you can take the time to read this right here. All right. Next, you want to, again, talk about the company. Again, the management team. See Isaac, Romero, and Savannah. Okay. And now we talk about the terms. All right. Again, we talked about the terms of the conditions for Fanbase, right? You get price per share is $6.65, has a valuation of $160 million. The deadline to invest, and this is key, the deadline to invest at $3.99 minimum is February 27th, 2026 at 2:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, that's just the deadline. Hey, we plan to hold this up until February. Anytime in between there, if Fanbase reach their goal, they have the right to change the deadline and stop accepting funds. So let's say, for instance, right now they raise almost 13 million. If someone decides, if they can wake up and next thing you know, they get 4 million, they can close that window now because they reached their goal. So this is not a rock solid deadline, because if they reach it before that deadline, they can close it. But just giving you that much time, just let you know, we're going to extend it out to this time. So if you are interested in investing, I recommend that you invest as soon as you can, because right now it's available. Tomorrow it may not be available. Okay. And here's just the breakdown. Again, we talked about the minimum investment, the max that you can invest as an investor, and depends on if you qualify to invest that much at one time. It's $3.5 million. Guess what? We just already said that they almost $4 million away. So someone come in with $3.5 million off the rip. Now they only less than $1 million away from their goal. Okay. And the minimum amount of shares that you're going to get with this offering, again, is 60. But if you invest up the maximum, this is the maximum shares that you're going to get, over 2.5 million. Okay. And again, this is a equity type of offering, and your shares offer is going to be Class B non-voting common shares, and we talked about that. As you scroll down, we talked about the SEC filings already. I showed you that. I showed you where the offering circular is. We went over the offering related risks. Now there's risks that Start Engine has just to cover themselves. Okay, so this is a crowdfunding investment. It involves risk, and they recommend, which it is recommended, you should not invest any funds in this offering unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to lose your entire investment. They have to put that in there because, again, nothing is guaranteed. We don't want you to invest money that you are relying on to pay your light bill. If $3.99 is going to put you in a bad, dire position, meaning that you're not going to be able to do the necessary things like pay your bills, take care of your health, take care of your children. If that's going to put you in a dire situation, you may not want to invest. You want to get your affairs together first. Okay, so they have to put that disclaimer out there. So, and you can read further on the risks, but I wanted to highlight that. Right. And this is not to deter you away from investing, but we have to put that out there. It does involve risk. All right. And again, right here, you have loyalty bonus. And we'll talk about that later on once we press the button to get equity. And you have different tiers, which we're going to talk about, the fan base have. And then you have a 10% Start Engine owner bonus. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. New updates. You can go to this page and look at for any type of updates that fan base have. So this is where you find the new updates. The last update was 2 days ago, right? August 21st, 2025. And I'm quite sure some of you guys might already saw this podcast. But if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. These are the updates. It goes over investment highlights and what is going to happen moving forward, right? And then you can review all the updates. So not only just the latest update, but you can review all the updates that Fanbase have made. So we're going to just scroll down to just show you. So it seems to be pretty consistent with giving you timely updates. But I just want to make sure you know where to find those updates. See. And once we get down to a certain amount of updates, the last update right here, it says June 17, 2025, you can view more updates. So you just collect this more updates, and then it will open up another thread of the updates and so forth and so on. Now you get down to rewards. Okay, multiple investments in an offering cannot be combined to qualify for a larger campaign award. Now, Start Engine offers 10% extra. So if you sign up for what they call a venture club reward, you can get 10% in addition to the amount of shares that you are entitled to when you sign up for Fanbase. It costs $275 per year to sign up. And that $275 entitles you to 10% of any type of investment you make through Start Engine. So say you go through Start Engine and you see another company that you want to invest in, you can get an additional 10% on your shares. And again, we talked about the tiers with that Fanbase offer. You have tier one. Tier one is anyone who invests at least $600. And what you will get from there is early access to new Fanbase features on the platform. Then you have tier two. If you invest $1,000, you get the same perks as tier one. In addition to, as a tier two member investor, you get 10,000 loves to use on Fanbase, and you get a verified badge. You may see some people on Fanbase, they have, when you look on their profile, they have a blue badge on the top. That means at minimum, they invested $1,000. Then you have tier 3, 2,500. The same perks as the first 2 tiers, but you get 15,000 loves to use on Fanbase, a Fanbase t-shirt and a verified badge that's blue. If you become a tier 4, if you want to be a tier 4 investor, you invest 5,000. Okay, same perks, but then in addition, you get 20,000 loves to use on Fanbase, a t-shirt, an early investor gold verified badge, and then you get an additional 5% bonus. So just think, if you're able and eligible to become a tier 4 investor, you invest $5,000, you get 5% share bonus. And if you become a venture club, you get an additional 10%. And the same with tier 5, 10,000. Same perks, but you get 30,000 loves to use on Fanbase, a t-shirt, an early investor gold verified badge, access to a private dinner for diamond level investors with the founder and executive team, and 10% bonus share. So if you become a tier 5, you get 10% bonus share, as well as if you sign up for the venture club, you get an additional 10%. That's 20% bonus shares on your investment. And of course, the more you invest, the more shares you're entitled to, and your bonus would look a little different. All right. Now you have the discussion. Join the discussion. This is where you can voice your concerns and to upper management. So let's take a look at some of the concerns that, investors had in the past. So let's look at this one right here. I found this kind of interesting right here. And then I'm not going to go over all of them. You can do that on your own time, but I just want to go over some key ones that I found interesting. This guy, John Weller, he asked, is there any plans to go public? And as you see, Isaac Hayes responded to him directly. And his response, is Fanbase is always looking at potential exit strategies. And that's going to be for the betterment of the investors. And again, I'm just ad-libbing this, but that's the sense of his answer. But the focus is on the growth and increasing the value for both the creators, the partners, and the investors, right? So the short answer is there is no short-term plan to go public, which is appropriate. I mean, the short term is to grow and make the company more valuable. So if you do become public, the valuation will be that much greater and it'll be lucrative for those who invested. So that's actually a good question and a great answer. This person asks about how do they designate a beneficiary for their shares? So it looks like that person is trying to sign their shares over to a beneficiary just in case something happened to it, right? And the answer is from Isaac is all they have to do is go into help.startengine.com/contact/contact us with the question, and they will be able to assist them. All right. How and when can I sell my shares? I haven't been able to do it for years. So when I hear for years, that's letting me know this person has been there, and this was a month ago, has been a Fanbase investor for some years, at minimum 2, because they say years. Okay, so the answer to that question is Isaac answered them and said pretty much Fanbase were offered the Fanbase shares offered are for long-term investing. Remember, long-term. It's not for short-term. It's not for tomorrow. It's not for next month. It's not for 6 months. It's for the long-term. And in investment lingo, long-term is anything above 365 a year or longer. But most investors, most serious investors, they're planning between 5 to 7 years or longer. Okay. So what Isaac is saying is this is for a long-term investment, and opportunities to sell typically arise during what's called a liquidity event. All right. Such as an acquisition. Someone decides that they want to merge with, acquire Fanbase at a high valuation that's going to be beneficial to the investors. A merger or initial public offering, which is an IPO. that's when you're planning to go public on a major platform. Okay. So he writes that working hard to build towards those milestones, but we're not quite there yet. And you can see because they're still trying to raise money. Okay. So with that said, while we will be sad to see you go, if you have identified a private buyer interested in purchasing your shares, you can contact Start Engine at contact@startengine.com. They will be able to guide you through a process of transferring your ownership. So those who are thinking about, that current investors who had that concern, or even future investors who think, hey, how can I sell my shares even before? You can get your assistance you need by contact@startengine.com. Okay. And you can go through all the other questions and answers on your time. I do want to show one comment, because you may be in a situation where I invested this much, but I didn't get any of my perks. In fact, that actually happened to me. I invested a certain amount, I didn't get my perks, and I reached out to them and they was able to take care of me within the next day. So I know that works. But this person 5 months ago said, I first invested $1,000 and didn't get any perks, rewards. And then I invested another $600 and still didn't see any rewards. And on top of that, there isn't any real way to communicate or message Fanbase and get a response. Well, they went to the right place to voice that concern, because Isaac responded, once you invest, you must claim your perks by emailing us at support@fanbase.app. I've used that, and that's how I got my perks. So I know that works because I did it myself. So this is a good avenue, a good tool if you have any questions and concerns about your investment or even about the app itself. Okay. And then again, you have, some frequently asked questions, but let's look at how investing works. You can cancel when you first invest. You can cancel anytime before 48 hours before the closing roll and the offering date. So the initial process go up with you sign up for Start Engine, right? Once you sign up to Start Engine, you go back onto the site, find Fanbase, you submit your order. When you submit your order, you're going to get an email. Hey, your order was submitted, we received it, and it's going to let you know how long it's going to take to process. Once your funds are in transit, you're going to get another email. So in between that time, it's going to take about 48 hours. Why? Because they want to give you time to, if you decide you want to cancel or not. So once it gets past the funds transfer, now it goes to funds received. You'll get an email. Hey, your funds was received. Then once your funds is invested, meaning that now it's invested into that pool of money raised. So your money goes into that. Once it's invested, it goes into the money raised now. Funds is invested, you'll get an email. And then you have some frequently asked questions right here. So you have someone, how much can you invest? As a non-accredited investor, you can only invest a maximum of 10% of your annual income or 10% of your net worth, whichever is greater. And we're going to talk about that. They say there are no restrictions for accredited investors. And essentially, to long story short, the difference between an accredited investor and non-accredited investor, it has a lot to do with your annual income and your net worth. And also with accredited investors, you have all types of certifications and things that you have to show. But for the most part, it's a difference between your income. And you can research that yourself. Okay. When will I receive my shares? At the closing of an offering, all investors whose funds has been cleared at this time will be included in the disbursement. So again, you're going to receive an email from Start Engine with a countersign subscription agreement, which serves as proof as your purchase moving forward, right? And we already talked about can I cancel my investment? We talked about that within 48 hours, okay? So I encourage you to take those steps before you make the decision to invest. That's doing your due diligence. After you do your diligence, you're comfortable with investing. Now let's get equity in our shares. So then you just press this button right here. Once you press that button, it's going to lead you to a page like this. Again, the minimum to invest is $3.99. It's already going to be grade in, right? But you actually have to put that in yourself, okay? So let's say, all right, I want to invest $3.99. Well, it's already going to pop up. Okay, well, for $600, you could be a tier 1 and get these perks, right? But let's say you don't want to be a tier 1, you just want to do $3.99. You just press continue. Once you press continue, right, it tells you the amount, $3.99, your fees, and I talked about the fees, the 5%, the 3.5% fee for the transaction goes to Start Engine. So your total amount is going to be $412.97 for 60 shares. All right. Well, let's say, you know what, I want the extra 10% as well. So then what you do is you become a Venture Club member. You press yes. And when you press yes, well, that member club fee is going to come up $275. And again, when I did it, first time investor, I had a free 30-day trial. So this wasn't there. But after that 31st day, they will charge your account $275. So if you don't plan to keep it for the whole duration, you may want to cancel that before that 31st day. In fact, do it before the 30th day, right? But you will still get your 10%. Okay. So let's say this person became a membership. They wasn't eligible for the trial. It's $275, right? Plus the membership fee. Your total is $687.97, and that gets you 66 shares. If you don't want the fee, the 10%, you just don't click that. Okay. All right. So now, again, this is the information you filled out before. Individual account. Then you want to select a payment method. Now, this is actually my personal account. However, I don't have a problem with showing it because it's not going to show information that is going to, so you need to select a payment method. So you already linked your account to Start Engine when you first registered. But if you didn't, you would have to add a bank account or a credit card. Then you want to select. And guess what? They actually accept stablecoin as well. So for those who are into stablecoins, crypto, they accept stablecoins, and you can actually pay for your shares with stablecoin. Okay. So you add your bank account, add your credit card. For the sake of this presentation, I want to select bank account. So now that's where the funding is going to take place. That's where they're going to take the funding away. Now, I told you that we was going to go over the annual income and net worth. For the sake of this presentation, I enter these amounts right here. And when I press this button, the SEC requirements allows me to invest up to $7,377.67, which is roughly about 10% of my total net worth. So they could buy my annual income and total net worth. Okay. Well, let's say, my total net worth is, let's say my total net worth is $20,000. Now, what is net worth? And we talked about that, right? What is net worth? Net worth is cash and assets easily converted to cash, right? That excludes your primary resident. Pretty much cash on hand or something that I can convert to cash on hand, okay? Baseball cards, coins, antiques. Can I convert that to cash? The answer is yes. Then that counts as your total net worth. Look what happened. Based off of that change right there, the SEC said, hey, you require you based off the requirements, you can invest up to $2,377.67. Let's say we have a person who doesn't make any income, right? Put 0. And let's say you have a total net worth of $30,000. According to the SEC, you can invest up to $377.67 for this right here. They won't let you invest anymore, right? Well, the minimum amount to invest in Fanbase is $399. So essentially, you're not eligible to invest in Fanbase. That's to protect you, okay? Now, let's say you have a minimum net worth of $35,000. No annual income, because for whatever papers you don't work, but you have a net worth of $35,000. Well, you can invest up to $877.67. So this is let you know that you can invest if you qualify, you're eligible to invest. And again, invest is for the long term, something that you can do without right now immediately, and you can let it grow for years down the line. Okay. But for the sake of this training, we're going to keep it as what I had it before, or I say training, but presentation. Sake of the presentation, we're going to keep it as I had it before, and keep it at 50,000 annual income, total net worth 100,000. That's my max that I can invest based off of those numbers right there. And once I'm ready and I'm satisfied with my investment, I just press submit investment. Now, I'm not going to press submit investment because now they're going to, you have to add a payment amount because that's going to come out and add a payment method. But if I added a payment method and I press submit, now they're going to charge, my account, and now I'm investing more shares. Now, granted, again, I can immediately cancel, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of this presentation. You can just submit that, and then it will show you, okay, your investment has been submitted, and at any time you can cancel within 48 hours. And finally, again, can I cancel? Because there's questions right under it. Can I cancel this investment? Yes, this investment can be canceled before August 25th, 2025. So 48 hours from today, it can be canceled, right? How much can I invest? We already talked about that. If you're an accredited investor, there are no legal mandates for investment limits. But if you're a non-accredited investor, you have legal limitations. And I showed that when I went over the annual income and net worth, your limits, okay? We talked about the venture club. You get 10% extra of a share if you join the venture club. And how is your personal information handled? And you can just read all this right here. But in a nutshell, your information, according to this, is secure. So they have mechanisms in place to make sure your personal information doesn't get out there into the wrong hands. Okay. And so far this week, Fanbase have raised $66,411 so far this week, according to this. And that right there is how you invest in Fanbase. That concludes the presentation.